This presentation will provide information on the financial aid process, from understanding the different types of financial aid and how to apply, to why you should apply and how the financial aid results are used by colleges and scholarships. The presentation will also discuss the important scholarship process and timeline. A PDF of this video with each individual slide is posted on the Venice High website. Click on Resources and look under Downloads. I'm Kim Kendall, Director of the Rotary Futures College Resource Center at Venice High School. Julie Pinkerton and Caitlin Joyner work with me to assist students with their post-secondary planning. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to change our visitor protocols. For now, we will only be meeting with Venice High School students by appointment only. Venice High School seniors, please make an appointment on the You Can Book Me site listed here. For now, no other visitors are allowed, including parents and non-VHS students. We know the financial aid and scholarship process can be confusing and a little intimidating for first-time in college students and their families. We hope you will find this presentation helpful. After viewing the presentation, please feel free to contact us with any questions you may have. So what is financial aid? Financial aid can be divided into two categories. Gift aid, which is free money or aid that does not need to be paid back. This gift aid can be broken into two categories: grants, which are based on financial need, or scholarships, which are merit-based or based on your talent, such as academic, visual, or performing arts, or athletic scholarships. Self-help aid refers to loans, which can be need or non-need based. Students with high financial need may be offered loans with lower interest or interest may be deferred. Another form of self-help financial aid is work study. Work study is an employment opportunity offered by the college or university. Through a work study job, students will earn money to help pay for expenses such as books or personal items. Federal work study is need-based and offered to students based on the results of the financial aid application. Financial aid comes from a variety of sources. The federal government awards financial aid in the form of Pell Grants, federal student and parent loans, and work study. The state of Florida awards financial aid. This includes the Florida Bright Future Scholarship Program and the EASE grant awarded to Florida residents attending a private college in Florida. There are other state grant programs as well. Institutional financial aid is awarded directly by the college or university and includes merit scholarships and need-based grants. And finally, there are outside or private sources of financial aid, which include scholarships and private loans. There are several financial aid applications. The most common application and the one we encourage all our seniors to complete is the FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA is the only financial aid application used by Florida public colleges and universities. The FAFSA may only be completed by U.S. citizens and U.S. permanent residents, which is also known as having a green card. The CSS Profile is a financial aid application created by College Board, and it is used by many private and elite public colleges and universities, in addition to completing the FAFSA. The CSS Profile is very involved and requires much more information than the FAFSA, so it is important for students to start on this application early, but only if they are applying to a college that requires the CSS Profile. There is only one school in Florida that requires a CSS Profile, and that is the University of Miami. Some elite colleges and universities have their own financial aid application. Please check each college's website to understand what financial aid application is required. And finally, the Florida Financial Aid Application, or FFAA, is required for any student to receive the Florida Bright Future Scholarship and other state grants. The FFAA is very simple and does not ask for any financial information. Only seniors will complete this application after October 1st of their senior year. We invite seniors to make an appointment and come in to complete the FFAA. The FAFSA is every student's first step in applying for financial aid. By completing the FAFSA, you'll be applying for most types of federal and state financial aid. Colleges and universities use the FAFSA to determine a student's eligibility for state grants. Students and families should complete the FAFSA as soon as possible after the application opens on October 1st. Many parents ask, why should we complete the FAFSA? My student won't qualify for federal aid. The reality is most students will not qualify for a federal Pell Grant, but the result of the FAFSA may make them eligible for other institutional grants. Completing the FAFSA qualifies students for low-interest federal loans, and parents may qualify for federal parent loans as well. Also, the FAFSA result may be surprising. Many factors go into the FAFSA result. For example, having more than one child in college at the same time has a big impact on the FAFSA result. Yes, student loans are a type of financial aid. Colleges and universities offer student loans as part of the financial aid award. Students and families don't necessarily want to consider loans, but it is important to understand that loans will probably be included in most financial aid awards. When a student completes the FAFSA, they automatically qualify for low-interest federal direct loans. The current interest rate for these loans is 2.75%, and this interest rate can change from year to year. Repayment of these loans starts 6 months after a student graduates or after they stop being a full-time student. A FAFSA Steps flyer is also posted on the VHS website. Click on Resources and look under Downloads. The FSA ID is the first step in completing the FAFSA. Both the student and one parent must create an FSA ID. The FSA ID allows the student and the parent to sign the FAFSA electronically. It also can be used to sign student loan applications and access financial aid information. Students must have a Social Security number to create an FSA ID and to complete the FAFSA. Parents without Social Security numbers will not be able to get an FSA ID. They'll have to print a signature page and mail it to Federal Student Aid to complete the FAFSA application. This option is presented at the end of the FAFSA. Students and parents should plan to create their FSA ID prior to starting the FAFSA application. This will make it easier to complete the FAFSA. Go to fsaid.ed.gov to start the process. As I mentioned, the student and one parent must create their own FSA ID. And you must use different email addresses and different mobile phone numbers when setting up the FSA IDs. It will take about 10 to 15 minutes to create your FSA ID. When you are creating your FSA ID, be sure to use an email address you can easily access, as you will have to verify your email address. You will complete the FAFSA each year you are in college, so you will use your FSA IDs each year. Use an email address you'll have access to after high school. Don't use your high school or college issued email address, since you may eventually lose access to the account. Please select Show Text so you can see what you are typing. Remember, your information is matched to the Social Security Administration, so it is very important that you are entering your name exactly as it appears on your Social Security card. Also, make sure you are entering your birth date accurately too. Any discrepancy will cause an error and hold up the processing of your FAFSA. Even though it may take 1 to 3 days for the FSA ID to process and match the Social Security Administration records, students may go ahead and complete and submit their FAFSA application with the FSA ID they just created. If there is a problem verifying the information provided when creating the FSA ID, the student and/or the parent will be notified by email, and the FAFSA will not be processed until the situation has cleared. Now you are ready to start the FAFSA. Here is a screenshot of the FAFSA.gov webpage. Make sure you are going to the website that ends in .gov. FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. You should never pay to complete the FAFSA. Any site that requires payment to complete the application is not the correct site. The 2021-2022 FAFSA opens on October 1st. This is the financial aid application for the 2021-2022 school year, which will be the college freshman year for this year's senior class students. High school seniors should complete the FAFSA as soon as possible after October 1st. Starting the FAFSA is simple. Go to fafsa.gov and click Start Here. There are two ways to log in. If you, the student, have created your FSA ID, select I am the student and log in with your FSA ID and password. The parent can log in without the student's FSA ID to enter their portion of the FAFSA. We recommend the student start the FAFSA and complete their portion, then the parent can continue and complete the parent information. Here are some FAFSA tips. Remember, this is the student's FAFSA. The student is the one applying for financial aid. The FAFSA will ask for both the student and parent information, and the sections are identified at the top of the page. Make sure you are answering the questions appropriately. Make sure you select the FAFSA for the 2021-2022 school year. For current high school seniors, this will be their first year of college beginning next fall 2021. It is important to complete the 2021-2022 FAFSA to meet college financial aid deadlines. There is a possibility that a student may have to complete the 2020-2021 FAFSA if they start college next summer, which would mean they will complete two FAFSAs this year. But right now, the priority is to complete the 2021-2022 FAFSA first to meet college financial aid deadlines, then complete the 2020-2021 FAFSA if you decide to go to college next summer. The 2021-2022 FAFSA will be required for many scholarships, so this is another reason to complete this FAFSA first. Another part of the FAFSA that requires some explanation is the save key. When you start a FAFSA, the student is required to create a save key. The save key is a temporary password that you will create so that you can save the FAFSA and then go back to the FAFSA to enter information and complete the FAFSA. The save key can only be 4 to 8 characters long. Tooltips are the question mark icons beside each question that provides more information about how to answer the question. These are very helpful, so please take advantage of the tooltips as you are completing your FAFSA. As male students start the FAFSA, they will be asked about selective service registration. Selective service is a system in the United States used to draft young people into the armed services. The draft was eliminated in 1973, but 18-year-old males are still required to register with the Selective Service, and the federal government requires Selective Service registration to receive financial aid. There are some exceptions to this requirement. Review the Selective Service website for details. Please note, not registering with the Selective Service before the age of 26 could limit your ability to get jobs in the federal government, and not registering could keep you from getting federal aid after the age of 26. When completing the FAFSA, male students are given the opportunity to easily register with the Selective Service. If the student is not yet 18, they can leave this question blank. Just remember, you will need to register directly with the Selective Service system within 30 days of your 18th birthday. For federal financial aid purposes, most students will be considered dependent students until they are 24 years old. This is based on the concept that it is yours and your parents' responsibility to pay for your education. The FAFSA will ask several questions to determine if you are a dependent or independent student. If you are able to answer yes to any of the dependency questions, you will be considered independent for financial aid purposes. Most of our independent students are able to answer yes to one of the questions listed here. Most of the questions refer to whether the student is in a court-ordered legal guardianship or are a ward of the court, or if you are homeless or an unaccompanied youth as determined by the school district liaison. Remember, documentation of your independent status will be required by the college before financial aid will be awarded. The IRS data retrieval tool is part of the FAFSA process. It allows students and parents who filed a U.S. tax return to access the IRS tax return information needed to complete the FAFSA. If you're eligible to use the IRS data retrieval tool, we highly recommend that you do so for several reasons. It is the easiest way to provide your tax information. It's the best way of ensuring that your FAFSA has the correct information, and you won't need to provide the tax return to your colleges. Again, remember this is the student's FAFSA. The FAFSA asks for student income and investments, as well as parent income and investments. Be careful not to duplicate the information. We see this mistake every year where the parent income is listed for both the student and for the parent. When you are filling in the investments and business information, use the tooltips for more information. The tooltips will explain that in the net worth of investment section, you do not list the net value of the home in which you live. Also, you do not include cash, checking, or savings in this area because it is listed in another section. You don't include retirement accounts like 401k plans or IRAs. Also, for small business owners, if you own 50% or more of a business, you do not list the value if the business has fewer than 100 employees. Read the tooltips or find much more information on the government's studentaid.gov website. Don't forget to list every school you are considering. This is a common error. Students decide to apply to a college a month or two after the FAFSA is completed, and they do not add the college to their FAFSA. It is very important to list every college because only the colleges listed will get the FAFSA information. You may add additional colleges at any time. Don't delay, or you could miss important college financial aid deadlines. The website, studentaid.gov, has lots of information, and this is our go-to website when we have questions as well. Remember, we are here to help VHS seniors and families with this process. VHS seniors can make appointments at rotaryfutures.youcanbook.me. We can help them complete their portion of the FAFSA, then they can go home and work with their parents to complete the FAFSA. You're ready to sign and submit your FAFSA. Review your FAFSA answers and make any necessary changes. Changes can be made later if needed. The student and parent will enter their FSA ID information to electronically sign their FAFSA. Don't forget to hit Submit My FAFSA Now when you're done. After you hit Submit My FAFSA Now, you'll receive a confirmation page. You will see an estimate of your eligibility for the Pell Grant and for federal student loans. You will also see an estimate of your expected family contribution or EFC number. The estimates typically do not change, but the financial aid offices make the final determination and notification of eligibility. The FAFSA results are also emailed almost immediately to the student. The email will show the student's eligibility for the Pell Grant or federal direct student loans. Also, the email will show the important expected family contribution number. After 2 to 3 days, students will also be able to log back into the FAFSA to view their student aid report, which shows the same information. The student aid report is required for many scholarships. The expected family contribution, or EFC, is calculated from the information provided on the FAFSA. Families are evaluated by their 2019 financial situation. The government's position is that parents are responsible for helping to pay for their child's education. The expected family contribution is based on the parent's ability to pay, not on their willingness to pay. So how is the EFC calculated? The formula is very involved and changes every year. The 29-page formula can be found online at the website listed here. The expected family contribution is made up of two parts, the student and the parent's information. For both the student and the parents, the FAFSA considers their income, assets, number in the household, number in college, and even the age of parents. Remember, the EFC is constant. The number does not change between schools. So you've completed the FAFSA. What comes next? The FAFSA results are sent to each school listed on the FAFSA application. One of the most common mistakes is students not listing all of the schools where they are applying. Colleges do not get the FAFSA information if you do not list them on the FAFSA. After you have been accepted to college, they will award students a financial aid package or financial aid award. Sometimes the financial aid awards are mailed, but most times this information is online on the student's college portal or college account. Additional information and forms may be required by the college in order to receive financial aid, so pay attention to email and to your online college account. Often this shows up in your college account in the financial aid section as missing requirements. FAFSA verification is a process where the government identifies certain students to go through a verification process. About 30% of all FAFSA applicants are chosen for verification. The college is required to verify the information on your FAFSA. If you are chosen for verification, then every college where you applied will be required to verify your information. As part of the verification process, students may be required to submit paper or online forms to the college. Completion of the verification process is required before any financial aid is awarded to the student. Please pay attention to your email and to your online college account, as this is where you will find the verification requirements. There are other financial aid programs that rely on the FAFSA results. The federal government awards grants and loans based on the results. The state has grant programs based on a student's FAFSA result. The college may award their own grants based on the FAFSA result. And most private scholarship applications require a completed FAFSA. So how is my financial need determined? The formula to determine financial need is basically the cost of attendance for 1 year minus the expected family contribution equals a student's financial need. The cost of attendance can be found on all college websites. Just search for cost of attendance. It can be broken into direct or hard costs. This is the bill you will receive from the college for tuition, dorm room, meal plan. The indirect or soft costs are the extra expenses that you will have for books and supplies, transportation costs, cell phone, computer, and miscellaneous personal costs. All of these things totaled together will equal your cost of attendance. The examples on the screen show how financial need is calculated and how it will vary from college to college based on the cost of attendance. Remember, your EFC will be the same at each college, but your cost of attendance will be different. As a result, your financial need will not be the same at every college. For example, your financial need at State College of Florida is much less than it is at a 4-year college or university because you will be living at home and the tuition is much less. The same goes for the cost of a Florida public university compared to a private college or university. Tuition is much greater at a private college or university, so your financial need will be greater. Many colleges do not cover a student's financial need, and this slide shows the gap students may have. For example, the University of Florida may award you $14,000 in financial aid, but you will still need to cover a gap of about $4,000 plus the $3,000 expected family contribution. At a more expensive college like the University of Miami, your gap may be even greater depending on the financial aid award. In this example, the student was awarded $35,500 in financial aid, leaving a $20,000 gap. Remember, the University of Miami is expecting the parents to provide the expected family contribution as well, which would be a total of $35,000 the student would be expected to come up with for the school year. Here is an example of what a financial aid award letter may look like. Remember, this is probably going to be posted on your college account. It shows the cost of attendance and the financial aid awarded, including loans. If you have any question about your financial aid award, we are happy to review it with you. Many families have experienced an income change since 2019. You will still complete the FAFSA with the 2019 tax return information. Then you will contact the financial aid office at each college to determine the process of asking for an evaluation of your changed circumstances. You will need to submit documentation to support the changed circumstances. Each college will have their own process, so reach out to them early to understand the requirements. So, if the financial aid is not enough, how do you fill the gap? There are parent loans offered by the federal government, private loans from banks and family members, or you may be able to get a cosigner for loans. Another way to close the gap is by private scholarships. Most scholarships are based on a student's merit and on their financial need. And finally, you may want to choose Plan B, or the college that has a lower cost of attendance or a better financial aid award. Let's talk about scholarships and why completing the FAFSA is so important to the scholarship process. Most private scholarships are merit-based and need-based, which means scholarship organizations want to give their scholarship to a good student who really needs the financial assistance. Scholarship organizations use the same formula as colleges to determine a student's financial need. The college cost of attendance minus the expected family contribution will equal a student's financial need for 1 year. It is important to understand that even though you may not qualify to receive a federal Pell Grant, the FAFSA expected family contribution number may help show financial need for scholarship purposes. Here is an example of a student's financial need. The student's EFC, or expected family contribution, is $13,000, which is too high to get a federal Pell Grant. But in this scenario, the FAFSA will still show scholarship organizations that you still have financial need or a gap of $8,000. Showing the gap or financial need is why completing the FAFSA is so important for scholarship purposes. Rotary Futures has a scholarship database program called the SSMS, which has information for about 500 scholarships. Venice High School seniors are able to use this tool to search for scholarships. The process takes about 1.5 hours to complete, but students do not need to complete the search all at one time. They can save their work and return later to finish the process. Most scholarships, especially the many local opportunities, are not due until after the first of the year, so seniors have time to complete the scholarship search. Keep in mind that scholarship applications can be time-consuming, so it is important to get organized. So you are ready to get started. What will you need to apply for scholarships? Most scholarships ask for the same information: a resume, letters of recommendation, a transcript, and essays. A resume for scholarship purposes is typically one page summarizing the student's high school academic achievements, extracurricular activities, employment, community service, etc. The resume is an important opportunity for students to sell themselves and highlight their school and community involvement. A sample is available in Rotary Futures, and we would be happy to email you a copy too. Many scholarships require at least one letter of recommendation, and some may require two. We suggest you get 3 letters of recommendation, 2 academic from teachers or guidance counselor, and at least 1 from a community member, which could be a job supervisor, a community service organization, a coach, a club sponsor, etc. You will use these letters over and over, providing copies of the letters with your scholarship applications. Letters of recommendation can take lots of time to prepare, so please be courteous when asking for letters of recommendation. Also, make sure you are asking someone who likes you. This may seem obvious, but I have heard from many teachers who have been asked to write letters by students who were late every day to class or who did very poorly in their class. You will get a better letter from a teacher you have a good relationship with. Some teachers or counselors may ask for your resume, or they may have other requirements before they give out letters of recommendation, so have your resume ready when you ask. Some scholarships will require an official transcript in a sealed envelope, and others will require a copy of the official transcript. It will take 2 to 3 days to get official transcripts in sealed envelopes. We suggest you keep one official transcript and make copies and use it to scan for online applications. Students will often ask if they will have to write essays for scholarships. Yes, there will be essays, but most scholarships ask for the same information. Students will typically write a college and career goals essay and explain why they have chosen their major or career path. Students will write a financial needs statement or an essay about why they need a scholarship. This essay is important because it is an opportunity to explain any personal situations, for example, having a single parent, family medical bills, job loss, siblings in college, etc. Once you write these essays, you will use them over and over. We are happy to review these essays and make suggestions too. As you start to prepare for scholarship season, be careful of deadline dates. As the sign says, due dates are closer than they appear. It is important to get prepared so that you will have all the required items to apply for scholarships. As I mentioned, most scholarship deadlines will be after the first of the year, especially the many local scholarship opportunities. There are a couple that we would like to mention that will be due in the fall or that you will need to start working on before winter break. The VFW Voice of Democracy contest is available online and is due October 31st. Our local VFW has supported this scholarship contest for many years. The Florida PEO scholarship application is for girls with financial need, and it'll be due in November. In January, the Florida Elks C. Valentine Bates Memorial Hope Scholarship is due January 10th. This is only for students with a 2.3 to 3.3 unweighted GPA, and last year we had 4 students receive $5,000 to $7,500 each. Also in January, the Oaks Women's Club Scholarship is due, and they award several scholarships to girls with financial need. The Exchange Scholarship is due at the end of January, and they award many scholarships to students planning to major in visual or performing arts. Probably the most important scholarship application for Sarasota County students is the Community Foundation of Sarasota County Scholarship, which will be due in February. This foundation awards more scholarships than any other organization in Sarasota County. Last year, they awarded over $300,000 just to Venice High School seniors. The Gulf Coast Community Foundation awards scholarships to area students too. Last year, $75,000 was awarded to VHS seniors alone. This scholarship should be due at the beginning of March. Many of our students will attend State College of Florida. Last year, the State College of Florida Foundation awarded $1.6 million to 1,100 SCF students. The application is online and due March 20th. Students must apply to SCF and obtain a student ID number before they can apply for this scholarship. The Selby Foundation is another excellent opportunity for students with financial need. Selby awards 40 scholarships for up to $7,000 each year for 4 years. The Auxiliary of Doctors Hospital awards many scholarships to students with financial need that are planning a health career. And there are many, many more local scholarship opportunities, so we encourage VHS seniors to make an appointment to visit Rotary Futures to use our scholarship database program. For Sarasota County students who are not able to visit us, we encourage them to use the Education Foundation of Sarasota County's website, launchyourplan.com. The Education Foundation has funded resource centers like Rotary Futures at Northport, Riverview, and Sarasota high schools. We highly recommend students at those schools visit their student success centers. The Education Foundation has also opened Launchpad for You, which is a resource center in downtown Sarasota. This center has a college and career advisor available to all students in Sarasota County. The Education Foundation is also responsible for collecting local scholarship information, and they share this information with every high school. They have also created a database of scholarships on the launchyourplan.com website. This is the same local scholarship information that is in our database. Keep in mind that Launch Your Plan scholarship database is constantly being updated, and the same is true for our database. All scholarship groups have not set their deadlines yet, especially the ones that are due in the spring. You will need to keep checking the scholarship database for updated information. LaunchYourPlan.com has many other resources for students to assist with post-secondary planning, including FAFSA information and videos too. The Education Foundation's Launchpad for You Resource Center will be holding in-person FAFSA open houses to help any area families with the FAFSA. The information for these FAFSA open houses is listed here with dates in October, November, and December. Feel free to register online or give the Launchpad for You office a call. Rotary Futures can help Venice High School seniors with FAFSA completion. They only need their Social Security number, and we can get them through most of the process. Then they will be able to go home and finish the FAFSA with their parent. Just have your student make an appointment through our You Can Book Me website listed here, and make sure they bring their Social Security number. Remember, to complete the FAFSA, the student must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident with a green card, and the student must also have a Social Security number. Venice High School parents. In addition to the Launchpad for You FAFSA open houses, we will have FAFSA help workshops for Venice High School families only. A limited number of after-school appointments will be available on November 5th and November 10th. Appointment times will be 4 p.m., 5 p.m., or 6 p.m. Only 2 people may attend the 1-hour FAFSA help appointment, the VHS senior and 1 parent. Call to make an appointment, and we will go over what information you will need to bring with you. Parents, we understand this is a stressful time under normal circumstances. Even though you are not able to visit us in person, we are confident we can help Venice High School seniors through the financial aid and scholarship process. We are open Tuesday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. We are closed on Mondays, and we are closed on all school holidays. Please feel free to call or email us and encourage your senior to make an appointment to visit us. We are available to answer any questions you may have.